Welcome, students and participants, to our event. Hope you are having a great day. There are a few announcements to be made. Attention to all participants in the Google Meet link. Please open your camera at all times, and please always mute your mic at all times during the event session so as not to interrupt the flow of the event. The VIPs will enter the Google Meet any minute from now. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, announcing our panel, Mr. Saifful Pathil, founder and instructor of X3 Resources, Tree Care Safety, just entered the Google Meet. Welcome. Salam Sejahtera and a very good morning to the panel, lecturers, participants from Google Meet and YouTube Live, and as well all MSUrians. Hi everyone, my name is Nasha Hamiza binti Aziz, and I'll be your host for today. Welcome to the SCA Adjunct Lecturer Series First Aid in Recreation Management. Now, before we start, let me just remind the students that by the end of the talk there will be a Q&A session. During the Q&A session, those on Google Meet, you may unmute and ask your questions to Mr. Saifful. While for those following us on the YouTube Live, please type it down at the comment section and we will pass it to Mr. Saifful. A gentle reminder, participants, please do stay till the end to scan the QR code for today's gems. Without further ado, Mr. Saifful Pathil, the platform is yours. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, guys. Thank you for inviting me as a Adjunct Lecturer Series for this time. Let me introduce myself first before I start my session today. I believe some of you, not some of you lah, maybe your lecturers from SCA is my previous student actually. So yeah, I used to be a lecturer at MSU. 2000, I believe 2008 to 2012, about 4 or 5 years before we have the new campus, and I further my study, doing so many things, and MSU called me back 2017. So I've been MSU lecturer for twice, 2 times. And on 2017, I believe I'm teaching about 2 semesters, and I'm decided to tinggalkan MSU again. So actually, I'm very close with MSU. Even your dean, also my friend last time. Yeah. So I'm very happy when MSU called me for doing this session. I try to share my slide first. Present now. Oh, yes. Okay. Have you seen my presentation slide?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So actually today is not really, for me, teaching in MSU is enjoying session. So don't be so serious since our topic is quite serious. So during my session, if let's say you have any thought or any question, maybe you can chat, and later on during the Q&A session, I'll try to sort it out. I try to answer what question in your head. But if let's say in the middle of the session you want to very urge, or you want to get straightforward answer or any answer, you may ask me directly. No worries. Okay, so first aid in regression management. Last time when I'm teaching in MSU, I've been teaching this subject, regression management. So if you ask me my background, actually my background is more towards on sports and regression. My diploma in regression management, my degree as well as same, and my master. So last time I used to further my study in US. It's supposed to if I completed my PhD, you should call me Dr. Saifful lah. But during my study in US, there's some and so many things that I'm doing there. So I'm coming back not as a PhD or doctorate, but I'm coming back with different things. So here I'm now. This is kind of some sort of my certification during my career, during my study, during my work, and I jump into I diverse my knowledge into new things. whereby I start learn about trees. It started with climbing a trees, and now become my profession as we call as certified herbalist, which is some country are called as a tree doctor. So yes, I'm not a doctorate by academic, but by professional certification, they are still call me as a tree doctor. So in fact, last time when I come back to Malaysia, I have some, I get some opportunity to working in Singapore. So during my work in Singapore, I conduct like the company appointed by government Singapore is doing some sort like outdoor training related to adventure training, related to sports and recreation. So, throughout my experience working with the company in Singapore, they have plenty of experience. And at the same time, I got some exposure, conduct training for various fields, including the first aid as well. So, uh, I taken my certification from US under Emergency Care Safety Institute during my study in US, and coming back here, I believe some of the organization we have a few organization in Malaysia where establish the credential, the certification, and so on. Later, I'll share with you guys. And uh, if you see my some sort of my profile, my experience, my expertise towards on the adventure, towards on the rope course, the climbing part, all kind of construction, either on man-made structure or trees. So starting from 2017 until now, like last time I before pandemic, just to share before pandemic, I fly abroad. I do some work in New Zealand, in Singapore, in Taiwan, Hong Kong, uh, more on tree work. So I got some opportunity to work abroad because I am considered as a tree doctor specialist in tree. So I don't want to talk more about me. Let's focus on the first aid. But the thing is, when we talk about first aid, especially in recreation management, we need to think more about wilderness first aid, whereby it's not like a normal first aid, but it's slightly same, but it was more like harsh. We call the term is wilderness first aid. Uh, Very limited resources, very limited tools or equipment, but we're able to perform the first aid things. Okay, so today I will talk a bit about first aid, but more or less I will share you my experience conducting the real first aid situation where I need to attempt some victim in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of at the nowhere, where there's you and the victim only. So bear in your mind, the word of first aid itself gives some sort of definition where uh, a simple explanation about first aid, you will be the first one who attempt the victim. That is, for me, a simple explanation. That's why they put a word first at the first place. Okay, so when we talk about wilderness first aid, meaning that we give the first aid with the limited resources at the middle of anywhere, actually, not only nowhere, but anywhere. So these two terms actually the same, but different setting and environment. Okay, so we have a plenty of institution, organization, even NGOs in Malaysia who providing some sort of training and credential so that you will become a competent person. We call you as a certified first aider, or we call you as a first aider. Okay, maybe next time you may search about the association or any institution who provide the training. But the thing is, this have been setting or have been set by DOSH, Department of Social Safety and Health, under the human resource. Therefore, an act regarding this, but I forgot the act in details. But the first institution should be the Ministry of Health. The MOH will be the first. And any organization or any institution under Ministry of Health is considered as a reliable and established institution who able to provide the training. And I believe I bought the word of the NGOs also that provide the training, such as the popular one is Malaysia Red Crescent Society, Bulan Sabit Merah, and St. John Ambulance Society as well. So these two, I believe, quite established in Malaysia. And we also have Life Saving Society of Malaysia and Malaysia Aquatic Rescue Association. So these both, like Life Saving Society and Malaysia Aquatic, is more focused towards on water safety. But these NGOs also offer like first aid, CPR, and so on, where have been, I think, quite established in Malaysia as well. So this is I just share my certification. I've been taking the first aid with ECSI, MJC Care Safety Institute, based in US, and now ECSI also have some affiliate partner in Malaysia where you also can take this kind of certification, because before this you need to go to US to take these courses. But now I believe some of the company or organization in Malaysia, they are start bring in the international credential in Malaysia. So yeah, so ECSI no longer you need to attend the training in US. Now we able to get this certification in Malaysia as well. And just I mentioned earlier, I also take my CPR training with Life Saving Society in Malaysia. Even though in or at MJC Care Safety Institute, ECSI also they are teaching the CPR during the course. But in Malaysia, I also have one certificate where able to do CPR. Okay, when some people ask me how important to become a competent person, the real answer is not only to become a competent person, but the knowledge behind the first aid, the CPR, that is the most important part. Because in Malaysia, I forgot the name of the act. Okay, in Malaysia, we don't have Good Samaritan law. Maybe after this you can search Good Samaritan law. Good Samaritan law is kind of an act where if you respond, if you give first aid or you attend the victim, and a result of what you do or what you did to the victim may result harm. Maybe because of you, the victim die. So maybe the parents or the family can sue you because of that. But under Good Samaritan law, this act is protect you as the first aider or as a rescuer. But the thing is, in Malaysia, we don't apply that Good Samaritan law. That's why uh, some people tend to, the word is diffusion of responsibility, where when you see someone at the middle, maybe car accident, or any incident happen in front of you, you tend to make don't know, because you worried when you attempt someone and something happen, you will be sued by the family. So that the real answer why people always behave like that. But the answer of the competency, even though in Malaysia we don't have the Good Samaritan law, but because you attend a proper training, so if let's say I'm doing and I try, because I already attend the training, I consider as a competent person, I certified by the association or any organization, a reliable organization in the first aid and CPR. So the situation where I try to rescue someone who nearly drowning, and when I do CPR, and the victim died. So the family tried to sue me because I am a competent person. This will help you not being sued. That's why it's very important to become a competent person. But as I mentioned earlier, it's not just only become a competent person, you have a knowledge. The good behind this is the knowledge to respond. That is the main thing. So throughout this session, actually, I'm not teaching you and I'm not certified you as a first aider, but more or less I just share you a simple step and a brief idea what you need to do when you're facing with some sort like accident or incident situation. So even though you are not certified or not a competent person, at least you know how to react. That is the most important part. Because sometimes, because you don't have any knowledge about this, the term of diffusion of responsibility, that how we behave, and some people may be traumatized because seeing kind of the accident. So it good to know some knowledge. It good to have some awareness about this so that you know how to react according to yourself. Because some people, macam my friend, is really outdoorian, is really doing so adventure person, climb that hill, climb that mountain, do kayaking, whatsoever, considered as adventure lover, adventure junkie, whatsoever, adventure person, but cannot see blood. So, so it really, sorry, it really depending on yourself. Sometimes kita boleh cakap kan, I can say like, alamak takut darah ke, tapi it really depend on yourself. Sama juga macam this current situation, where now is pandemic COVID-19, and some of my friends are very afraid with the needles. So I get some what we call kita membawang lah. Some people tend to aku strong guy lah, takkan ni needle kecil pun takut kan. But some people are really interfere with the needle sampai pingsan pun ada. So it really depending on yourself and you know yourself better. Okay, so As a first responder, this 3P is very important. And this 3P is kind of a basic understanding about first aid. First P, preserve life. This is the first idea why we need to have a knowledge about first aid. I just share with you. I got some experience doing CPR to my mom during uh, end of what you call she collapsed and what to say the word and we don't know what happened to her actually. She just collapsed and in front of my sister, and my sister called me, hey, mom collapsed. uh, I'm away from house, I'm driving back, not to say away from house lah, pergi keluar minum kan. Then I straight away come back to house and apply CPR because this is kind of a response or how you react to preserve the life. Kalau you tak ada knowledge, maybe you just see, you just wait lah. But if you understand about first aid, so you know that the objective of the first aid to give a first response is to preserve the life. So this is kind of objective that you need to know and very important where if it happened to maybe you don't know this fella, it's okay, it's fine. But how about it happened to your family, your parents, your mom, your dad, or your sibling? So that's why I'm saying you adventure or you are active guy, you are some sort like strong guy, but if you have limited knowledge about first aid, is for me, for me, the knowledge of doing this is or understanding the first aid is very important. First, preserve life. Number two, prevent further injury. That is the other objective of the first aid. Because you have a knowledge, you have a skill, you know what to do, you know how to react. When something happens in front of you, you know how to prevent further injury. And not because of you, the injury become more ataupun what to say because of less knowledge, you are make the injury more worse. So the second P is prevent further injury. And last, objective of the first aid is promote recovery. When you enter the victim or any injury, you know how to prevent the further injury because you have the knowledge, and you're able to promote recovery where by knowledge you know what kind of recovery position, what kind of situation where when you wait for the further medical team or ambulance, you know how to react with the situation. So these three P's is kind of the most important objective of learning first aid. I'm not saying that first aid is important, very important in your life, but for me, doing this, learning this, understanding this, is a good thing as a human being. Okay, step by step. So I'm quite fast today because I'm not planning to end up our session at 4:30 actually because I have something to do. But I try to go step by step before I end up the session. So the first step you need to do when attempt or dealing with the situation. First one, you need to assess the situation. Assess the situation, assess the not only the situation, the people, how many people are the location of the accident may harm you as a first aider, or if you conduct or you perform the first aid, do you able to uh, what we call you able to make sure the situation in order, or any kind of situation where you assess numbers of the victim and so on. So the first step in first aid is assess. So again, not only assess the situation, assess the numbers of the victim, kind of the injury and so on, but again, I did mention uh, you also need to assess when you do or perform the first aid, are these harm to yourself or not? Okay, number two, after you're doing some assessment, you may plan. You need to plan. And in this step, when conduct or at the planning stage, you need to plan not only what to do, how to react, you also need to plan what resources do you have to perform the first aid. I mean, the tools, the equipment, all kind of the resources that you need to perform the first aid. So this is at the plan stage. When you know what to do, when you plan how to react, you have resources to attempt the victim, then now this is a stage where you implement whatever that you plan. So implementing sometimes is not same as what you plan, but by implement is at least we call you do something. So if you assess the place, you plan, but you didn't implement, means you also kind of people at the term of diffusion of responsibility, where you only see the situation, you plan how to react, but you have no guts to implement the thing. Uh, Same thing, if let's say you able to implement, uh, sometimes the situation may be not as what you plan, not as like you just plan like to attempt one victim, and after that more victim, and you need to attempt. So maybe that kind of situation you will facing when you implement what you plan. But later on, at the end of the step, actually you need to evaluate back. You evaluate what you have done, and you need to evaluate back what resources, or within your limited resources, what kind of uh, things or reaction you can do before you implement the thing. So it really important to understand this four step: assess, plan, implement, and evaluate. Because if let's say you just jump into third step, which is when you see the accident happen in front of you, you immediately respond without assess the situation, without do some planning, you immediate respond and implement. Even sometimes you make it the injury worse. That's why it's very important to make sure that you go step by step. Do some assessment, planning, implement, and lastly evaluate. And I just to share what happened to myself last time when I conduct a session in alamak, slide tak bergerak ke? Shoot. Dah nampak slide ke? Now okay ke slide?
Dah okay dah.
Dah okay dah. Sorry. Selalu Google Meet macam ni. Sorry. So now you see my slide?
No, sir.
Now?
Yes, now you see.
Aku cakap seorang-seorang rupanya. Sorry. Google Meet selalu macam ni. That's why, sorry ya. That's why I used to use Zoom because Zoom more better than Google Meet. Sorry. Okay. Alamak. You can see the slide. Anyone can respond?
Yes, we can see the slides.
Okay, I changed the slide. Have you seen the slide? Or same slide?
Did you change that? Because we only see the page 7.
You only see the page 7. Ayo. Then you see the slide now, huh?
Now you can see.
Alamak, boring lah pakai Google Meet ni. It always happen to me like this, you know. Okay, it's okay. Okay, so I just want to share. Last time when I conduct a session at MSU, I don't know, maybe some of your lecturer attend my previous session. I share you guys about I share with them about my situation where happened to myself because last time I got malaria fever. So the experience of malaria fever teruk. But the best part during this session, I want to share my experience being a COVID-19 survivor. Because early of this one is end of June. Actually, I got COVID. I'm positive COVID. Just share with you guys the situation where I've been working with trees, not contact with any human, and I got a fever. So when I got a fever, I thought at the first place I got a normal fever. After 3 days, my staff asked me to, boss, tak payah datang kerja lah, you just stay in office. Then just wait us. After we completing the work, we report to you at the end of the day. So I'm staying at office, and for 2 days, because I conduct some of the online session like this, so my fever become worse. And my 5th day of my fever, sakit dada. And I'm alone at office, in my office. And I'm collapsed, alone. Just imagine, when I collapse with nobody with me, what could be happen? Masa tu sesak nafas and I collapse. Thank God, saya sedar, and I look into my watch. Saya tengok, alamak, dekat almost 40 minutes I collapse, I pingsan now. And I immediately call my wife. Said, nak mati lah. Send me to hospital. And what happened? My wife drive like crazy, because I dekat office I tak ada kereta. My car have been drove with my staff. So memang tak ada kereta lah with me. Then my wife immediate come to office and bring me to hospital. What happened? Thank God. Thank God. Collapse sorang-sorang, and I able to sedar balik. My wife said, why? Cakap anda nak mati, hantar I ke hospital. And the best part, because I know that I have insurance, not to mention what kind of insurance I have. Then I said to my wife, send me to Columbia Hospital. Asian kan, ada insurance. So my wife drive me to the Columbia Hospital, actually nearby with my office, nearby with my house. Because my office is about 5 minutes from the house. No, it's about 10 minutes from the house, quite near. And Columbia Hospital is about 15 minutes away from the office. So quite near lah. And I said to my wife, insurance ada kan, send me to Columbia Hospital. So when I reached the Columbia Hospital, for sure lah dekat emergency, the send me to emergency, and dia tanya, kenapa? I sesak nafas. I collapse. They send me to the emergency room. They cucuk sana, cucuk sini, and everything. They do it the first response lah actually. But when you reach hospital, it's not considered as first aid anymore, because normally first aid happen during or before you get or you attend by a professional such as a doctor or medical assistant or whosoever in hospital. And even in ambulance now we have the what we call not only we call as a first responder, they also sometimes being called as a MA, medical assistant lah, in the ambulance. So if let's say that you just move into the ambulance, meaning that you are no longer at the stage of first aid. So my situation, I rescue myself actually. I assess the situation, I able to walk, but I cannot drive because I have no car. So I call, my plan is, I plan to call my wife because my house is quite near from the office. And the one who implement the first aid actually is my wife, where she drive me to the hospital. And when I reach the hospital, okay, this is no longer first aid, this is just share my experience, become first positive COVID-19, just to share with you. So what happened? They cucuk sana, cucuk sini, take my blood, take everything, do another swab test and everything. Do so many swab tests, not just one time. They do so many swab tests because they want to get what kind of fever that I have. So from I reach hospital is about 4:35 p.m. They put me with so many needles. They x-ray my chest and so on. So I sedar balik pukul 10 malam. Then the doctor said, okay lah Saifful, Mr. Saifful, now you are quite stable. Now we plan to move you into the ward before we get the real result of COVID. Because just to share with you guys, a day before I collapsed at my office, I did my RTK test. swab test lah. I did my RTK test at one of the clinic in Sedang, and the result is negative. So when getting the negative result, I say like, oh, okay lah, this is only another fever lah, not the COVID-19. I'm very like confident where I'm not a COVID-19 a victim or COVID-19 patient. So the Columbia Hospital said like this, Saifful, we need to get the result tomorrow, and maybe tonight you just staying in the normal ward with the ventilator, normal ventilator, not ventilator inside your mouth and so on. Just put, because the doctor said I'm quite stable at that time. Okay lah, I said okay lah. Hantarlah mana-mana pun as long as I survive. So what happened? Pukul 12 malam, the best thing, the admin of the hospital called me. Mr. Saifful, doctor want to talk with you. Pukul 12 tengah malam tau. And the doctor said what? The result is not yet received since we are need to wait tomorrow. But your chest, when we did when they did the X-ray, my lung teruk, dia kata teruk, and the infection is started. Dia kata because the infected of the lung dah kena infection, that's why you collapse, because you susah nak bernafas. Then the doctor said, based on his experience, the doctor said, tak perlu tunggu result esok pun, I can confirm you are COVID. Dia cakap macam tu. Then I cakap balik, okay, then I always, the situation is similar like what happened when I get malaria last time. I go to the private hospital, and when I get result, they ask me to discharge. But this time round, quite same, but in different manner. Where they said, hey, Saifful, your insurance is not protected you. The insurance not cover the COVID-19. Because of that, we give you an option. What do option I have at the middle of night? They give option like this. You can stay until we get your result tomorrow. That is the first option. And when the result said I positive COVID, they need to put the ventilator, and I need to stay with the hospital for 10 days. That kind of the SOP that MKN or Ministry of Health give to private hospital. So since I'm not protected with my insurance, the doctor said it will cost you about like 40,000, 40 to 50,000 for 10 days. So the option number two, tonight you discharge, since the result not yet say I'm a COVID-19, positive COVID-19. And the doctor said, better you go to the government hospital. Then at the middle of night, alone at the ward, I think, okay lah, I go for option number two. Then I immediate discharge. I call my wife, and my wife again implement the first aid. She's sending me to the hospital. So I've been attempt in emergency with the ventilator because they said I'm at the stage 4, near to stage 5, nak mati lah. So they said at the first place dia nampak macam okay lah, you quite stable, so tak perlu masuk COVID-19 punya ward. Tapi bila dia tengok my lung, when they look into the X-ray punya result, dia kata this is teruk, bukan stage 1, stage 2 COVID, might be stage 4, stage 5. Then they immediately send me to the COVID-19 emergency room, ICU. So at the emergency room, what happened? I've been sending from the normal ward, I mean the emergency normal ward, to emergency room COVID-19. So what happened? They have put ventilator on me, and they put the ventilator on me, and 3 days at the ICU. I've been looking so many people dying in front of me. That is kind of the, maybe some will traumatize with that situation. Uh, and still in my mind, the fella on my right side dying early morning and the left side dying after that. So like uh, maybe could be a nightmare lah for someone who facing that situation. But thank God after 3 days in ICU, one of the doctors said that my lungs start recovery. Thank God. Only 3 days in ICU, and they are not asking me to make me sleep, because if let's say that I have like other sakit macam heart attack or kencing manis, darah tinggi and so on, they will ask you to make you coma first, and until your lungs start recovery by self, or you die lah. So that I think after day 3 in ICU, the doctor said, okay lah, Saifful, you start recovery actually. We think you can go to normal ward. Masa tu that was like very surprised lah. It quite surprising for me because tengok orang sana sana sakit mati, ni sakit pun mati kan, yang sana sakit mati kan. Then the doctor say, no Saifful, you are recovery. And I've been staying in normal ward about 5 days. I supposed to stay in the hospital about 14 days, but my day 8, one of the doctor that attend me at the normal ward said, hey Saifful, actually you are now recovery. No more, not to say no more COVID inside my lung, but my lung recovered. So I able to discharge only after 8 days in hospital. But the doctor give instruction where I need to self-quarantine in my house until completing of 14 days. So just to share with you guys the situation that I'm facing myself, that is kind of the situation that I believe if I'm not understand about the first aid, maybe different reaction will be like how I'm react. Maybe some of reaction of the situation because of I have some knowledge about first aid. I have a knowledge a bit about the medical things and how to respond and plan with kind of situation. So thank God I have this kind of knowledge. And Alhamdulillah, I able to survive lah. Now I am a COVID-19 survivor lah. I can call me survivor because I at the stage 4, near to die. Okay. And just to share with you, COVID is real and take care yourself. Okay. So this is the principle in first aid that this principle also been practiced in my situation. First is stay calm. Yeah? Do not take risks for yourself, injured person, or any witnesses. So when the situation happen, you must stay calm. If you cannot stay calm, you must avoid to further step, or you try to implement what things you plan, because stay calm is the first main thing you need to do. Number 2, Manage the situation. Sometimes the situation where not only one victim is maybe more than one person. So by managing the situation, you can give the safe access to the person, either the injured person or any witnesses and yourself as well. So manage the situation is very important. That is the second principle. Number three, manage the patient. So manage the patient is kind of the principle where in line with the first aid that you, with your knowledge on first aid, and do things step by step where I share you assess, plan, implement, and evaluate. So these four steps must be implemented according to these four principles. So this is interrelated. Stay calm at the first place, manage the situation, manage the patient, and do things step by step. Jangan lompat, oh aku terus pergi implement without any plan, without assessing, without, you cannot stay calm, then you want to help others. Itu yang paling worst lah. Kau pun takut darah, lepas tu kau nak tolong orang yang berdarah-darah. So, you must stay calm first before you start manage the situation and so on. Okay? So, next. This is some sort of common injuries in outdoor activity because the topic is under the recreation management. So I quite narrowing the injuries based on the outdoor activity because some people said like doing a first aid at the middle of jungle, doing first aid at the middle of nowhere with limited resources. That is the situation in outdoors. If let's say in house, maybe you have your own first aid box and so on. But this common injury, it normally happen. Common injuries in outdoor activity. First is sprain, ankle sprain. Ada panggil ankle sprain apa? Terpelecok, terpleon, apa lagi? Macam-macam lah, macam-macam word lah, ankle sprain. And ankle sprain happen dekat ankle lah, for sure kan. Takkan ankle sprain berlaku dekat siku kan. So ankle sprain. Because some happen because of too tired, penat sangat, berjalan dah lama sangat, and step main jalan je. That is one of the reason why there's ankle sprain common injuries. And some said the reason may because of the shoe, kasut. Kadang-kadang kita kan macam kita pakai kasut, satu kasut untuk semua. Kasut tu lah pakai pergi kelas, kasut tu lah pakai pergi jogging, kasut tu lah pakai pergi jalan-jalan, kasut tu lah pergi hiking. So actually the shoe is not suitable with some of the surface of ground punya keadaan. That's why sprain ankle or ankle sprain happen to outdoor person. Kasut dengan terlampau penat. Bila dah penat sangat, tend to sepak sana, pijak sana, ikut suka-suka. Kasut, maybe the shoe that you use, you put on your foot is not suitable with the activity that you do. So these two common factor lah, common factor for the ankle sprain. Number two, near drowning. This is also considered as common injury. Kenapa drowning terus? The common injury is near drowning, and it always happen to someone who know how to swim. Kalau orang tak tahu berenang, normally dia akan jauh daripada air. So the potential of drowning is very minimum. This is back to the psychology behavior of people who are not able to swim. Dia akan tend to apa? Dia akan tend to stay away from the water. But the incident or the accident or some sort of injuries near drowning happen because they know how to swim, they think that they are good swimmer, and they believe that they will not drowning because they know everything about swimming. That's why the common injury is near drowning, and biasanya it happen cause what? Because of what? Hamstring, kekejangan kaki, tiredness lah, penat juga, dah swim, tiba-tiba kaki dah penat, tangan dah penat. That's why the common injuries is near drowning. Drowning ni selalunya berlaku pada siapa tau? Pada yang orang memang tak tahu berenang. It common happen. But back to as I mentioned earlier, biasanya orang tak tahu berenang ni dia akan lari jauh-jauh. Biasanya saya tanya, siapa kat sini tahu berenang? Tak tahu berenang. It's important to know how to swim. If some of you are not able to swim, kena start belajar lah. Because swimming skills is very important for survival. Lagi-lagi pula dalam maybe any situation. Number 3, the common injuries in outdoor is cut, abrasion, luka-luka kecil, mungkin bengkak, mungkin melecet. So ini pun berlaku tengok apa situation. Some because of masuk hutan dengan tak pakai protection, I mean a suitable clothing, tak pakai baju seluar yang sesuai, masuk hutan, lepas tu bercalah sana, terluka sini, actually is a common lah. Number 4, one of the injuries yang quite bahaya lah, agak bahaya, because when it goes to head injuries, normally dia akan pening, fainting, nanti boleh pingsan. And head injuries, kalau tanya saya kan, why it common happen? Because we tend to not protect our head during our outdoors activity. Kita rasa macam, alamak, nak pakai topi, helmet ke apa ke, actually it depending on the activity lah. Takkan nak pergi swimming pakai helmet kan. Tapi kalau kata it involve with like climbing activity, hiking and so on, it's better to protect your head at least by put on your caps. Dalam hutan is good to cover your head. That is one of the way maybe you can what we call a caution or precaution that you can do when you hike ataupun you doing the hiking activity. Pakai topi, buff or any sort of covered your head. Kadang-kadang ada macam dalam hutan kan, when you are hiking, ada some of the trees, I forgot the tree's name, dia memang berduri-duri kan, and even in front of me I got experience where someone being kena duri tu kat telinga dia, and because of he's not wearing his any covered or protection at his head, what happened? Duri tu sangkut kat telinga dia, pergi ke belakang and sangkut kat kepala dia. So what happened? Dia tarik, koyak kepala dia. So head injury also considered as a common injury. By having some protection or some cover on your head, at least kalau dalam situation my friend tu, what happened? Maybe duri tu akan sangkut pada topi dia, and sangkut pada topi dia, dia sedar. And bila dia berjalan, maybe the covered things, the cap yang dia pakai itu yang akan selamatkan dia. So that is kind of precaution yang some people may do and advisable to do it. Okay. But for me, near drowning, cut abrasion, head injuries, even though it's considered as a common injuries, but it's still not happen, is apa orang kata, kita boleh masih lagi tahu what to do. But ankle sprain, may I share you some treatment for ankle sprain? This is a treatment where have been practiced so many years by the first aider or any medical assistant. We call as a rice treatment. Rice treatment. So when you in outdoors doing some activity, tiba-tiba ankle sprain. When ankle sprain, ini yang selalu kita buat. Kita buka kasut, kita urut-urut kaki. That is common how we react with the ankle sprain situation. Tapi sebenarnya salah. That even though that is how we react, tapi sebenarnya salah. That is not kind of treatment. Kalau dah terplecok tu kaki tu at your ankle dah lari sikit, this is the real treatment. First, you need to rest. Betul. Buka kasut, buka stocking, rest punya position. Kalau boleh dalam keadaan duduk. Then, we go for the next. Eyes. Kita ada eyes where kita letakkan dekat tempat yang sakit tu. Kita letakkan. How long? Normally they say like 15 minutes. 15 minutes. 15 minutes, rest, and another 15 minutes until you feel okay. Tak ada rasa sakit sangat. Okay. Next, we go to compression. What is compression? Bagusnya kalau kita ada bandage, kita balutkan tempat yang ankle kita yang sakit supaya apa? Bila kita ankle sprain, actually kita punya muscle, kita punya vein, kita punya salur-salur darah and so on, actually dia jadi panas. That's why we use ice to cooling back the warm punya tempat untuk dia kendur balik. Tadi dah panas, macam dah terlebih. Now we make it cooler by putting the ice. To maintain the situation or to maintain your leg, then we need to compress it with bandage. So kadang-kadang orang cakap kan, alamak dekat hutan mana nak cari ais, mana ada kita bawa ais. That's why a good to have your own first aid in your bag, or bring like a small first aid. But the thing is, you need to have, now we have cold compress. Dijual sekarang ni, dah banyak dah jual dekat pharmacy. Where when you put on this cold compress, dia sama rasa dia macam ais sejuk. Dan dia boleh dibawa ke mana-mana. Tak perlulah bawa peti sejuk pergi mana-mana, tak perlulah bawa ais, cool box ke mana-mana because worried of the ankle sprain. So you may put cold compress, yang ni ada jual dekat pharmacy now, available dekat banyak pharmacy. You can put in your first aid in your bag, so if ankle sprain happen, you can put this to your ankle. And last, in the rush treatment is elevation. You need to put your foot atas sikit daripada paras jantung supaya darah is not forced by your heart to the vein to the injured area. That's why it's good to lay down, baring, dan elevate your leg a bit, supaya dia lebih daripada paras jantung. So by doing the elevation, your leg elevation like this, you dah baring, then you elevate your leg a bit, the heart will not push the blood towards the injured area. So by not pushing the blood to the injured area, dia akan less rasa sakit tu. And how long this rice treatment need to be done? Kalau atuk-atuk dia tak pakai rice treatment ni, dia terus je letak minyak panas, minyak urut and so on. So sebenarnya by medical, by research, by study, you need to treat the ankle sprain. You need to treat the ankle sprain at least 72 days, 72 days, 72 hours, which is 3 days. So by conduct the rice treatment 72 days, we hope, and the study said that sepatutnya your ankle sprain, your injury will start to recovery. Not to say terus baik tau, it start to recovery. And after 72 hours, then baru you allowed to do any kind of treatment. Nak urut, massage ke, nak ambil minyak panas and so on. But 72 hours rice treatment after when you get injured. 3 hari, bukannya immediate. Dah play out dia, ankle sprain dia, buka kasut terus urut. Bagi pula minyak. Minyak apa ada? Minyak UI. Minyak UI ke minyak apa ke, sapu. Actually it's not a good treatment lah. Tapi memang kalau kampung, di kampung, atuk-atuk nenek kita memang they do that kind of treatment. Sapu minyak angin, minyak panas lah, minyak apalah, whatsoever minyak lah. Sabu supaya nanti surut bengkak tu. Actually to make it will make worse, bukannya dia treat your injury. The real treatment is rice. Remember rice, makan hari-hari, rest, ice, compression and elevation. So this knowledge also will help you and maybe your friend when experienced with this situation. And even ankle sprain, not only limited to someone who outdoors. Actually, ankle sprain also is kind of common for someone who use their foot daily. Saya rasa semua orang guna kaki daily kan. So the tendency to get ankle sprain memang semua orang ada. Berjalan dekat depan MSU, lalu dekat parking depan tu kan, batu-batu sikit kan, prak jatuh. So it could be that situation. Or turun di tangga tu kan, turun tangga banyak-banyak tu kan, dekat depan tu, dekat apa nama tempat tu, I forgot the name you call the place. Turun tangga, tiba-tiba jatuh, terplay on. So actually this treatment maybe you can share with your friend as well, supaya dia tak ada yang jatuh, urut, nak ambil minyak. You also not do that kind of treatment. You also can educate someone else where rice treatment is the better treatment and the best treatment. Okay, so I'll go next. A bit about cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So this CPR actually have been reviewed every 2 years. Just to share with you guys, CPR method, CPR technique, or whatsoever they call a CPR, will be reviewed by the institution or the association is heart disease response or something. I forgot the name of the organization, but they are doing review every 2 years. So kalau you Google or you do some searching in internet, what is the technique of CPR? There are plenty of technique. It started with DRABC, DRABCD, ada yang DRABCDEF, ada DRAB. So like so many technique that will confusing you. Even me myself, when it started with I learned like I take a course of CPR. My first course 2003. So like how many years? 2003 is about 18 years ago, 17 years ago. So I started learn first aid, same like this. My lecturer teach me in the first aid class like this. He did teach me the technique of CPR is DRABC. And after a few years, after so many years on doing this, kalau you tak ada knowledge apa-apa, you just stay there, see what happening in front of you. Lagi sedih. For me, even though the experience of doing CPR, and even my mother passed away after that, at least give a guts for me to say, at least I did something, not just wait and see. So in doing CPR as well, you need to have a guts lah to doing. You understand the step by step, and kena ada sikit keberanian lah untuk buat. Because ramai orang dekat Malaysia ni, as I mentioned earlier, diffusion of responsibility tu, because of kadang-kadang dia tahu, tapi dia tak ada guts, dia tak ada keberanian untuk buat. Dia tak ada keberanian. So it's very important to understand at the first place apa kita panggil, tahu what to do, how to react, and if you're facing the situation, you ada sedikit keberanian untuk buat. Okay, we go one by one. Danger, D. The acronym of DRABC is first is danger, response, airway, breathing, circulation, or CPR. Then we go through one by one. Danger, same at the first place, and I did mention in step by step of the first aid, we need to assess or do some assessment. So danger at the stage where you need to do assessment, you need to do assessment, and it's not only danger to the victim, but you need to assess the danger to yourself as the rescuer or the first aider. Kalau you nampak ada orang yang dah lemas dekat dalam swimming pool, and you also know that, oh, confirm lah dia lemas because dekat swimming pool. You know the danger is the water, and you need to check back yourself. Aku pun tak tahu berenang. Then you need to stop to proceed the next step. Tapi kalau, okay, aku tahu macam mana nak buat, assess, planning, oh aku tak pandai berenang, tapi aku boleh campakkan kayu dan tarik dia. Plan, then you go for implement, oh pergi selamatkan dia, tarik dia keluar daripada swimming pool and put away from the danger. That will be great, and that will be at the first step of CPR. Tapi kalau nampak kan, dia ni suddenly collapse and you look like, oh maybe dia kena electric shock because you see one of the power line putus terkena dekat dia. So at this stage, kalau you tengok, this danger for the victim for sure because the victim have been collapsed, dia dah pingsan. Tapi is it danger for you as a first aider or rescuer? Now it considered as danger because maybe you also become a second victim. Ada satu, I forgot the terms. If you are not really into the situation where when you assess, you feel that it not safe for you, it's better to stop. It's better to stop to go to the next step because if let's say that ini power line, dia dah kena electric shock, kalau aku pergi aku pegang dia, aku pula kena, then you need to stop to do and respond, react with the situation. Okay, so make sure that when at the first step of the CPR, when you want to implement and perform the CPR, you need to make sure that there's no danger to yourself and danger to the victim anymore. So kalau kata dia dalam swimming pool, you tarik dia keluar. Kalau dia kena electric shock, maybe you can call, kalau Malaysia kita ada TNB, power line company, ataupun you boleh telefon immediate immediate ambulance, you can telephone hospital and so on. So you need to get someone to assist. Or let's say you see the apa orang kata, ada switch on off, then you may switch off lah, switch off the switch. So make sure that at this first stage you must carefully assess the situation. Jangan kelang kabut. Okay. Next, you do a response. So what kind of response we need to know now? You need to check the victim to get the response. According to some of not some of the study, but according to the practicing normal practice by a rescuer, kita akan pegang shoulder mangsa, and we call for hello hello are you okay to get response from the victim. Kita try untuk kejutkan dia, and even sometimes we slap the victim face. Bangun bangun, kejutkan dia. You kena buat macam tu. Sebab takut apa? Dia sebenarnya, sekejap ya. Omri ke bawah tu. Omri kau tu. Sorry ya. Office hari ni ramai orang masuk, ada meeting. Okay. So we go back to the second one, respond. You need to hold the shoulder, goyangkan badan dia, hello hello are you okay, hello hello are you okay, or even sometimes you need to slap the face to get the response. Sebab kita risau kadang-kadang nampak macam pingsan, lepas tu tengok tadi tak ada danger, tak ada apa, it looks safe, lepas tu nampak dia terbaring, terus pergi buat CPR, tahu-tahu member sebenarnya tidur, bukannya apa pun, tidur sebenarnya. So you need to get response first. If let's say when you try to get response, there's no response, yang pertama, no response at all, no breathing, tak ada langsung bernafas, and even sometimes we need to look the chest as well, tak ada langsung pergerakan dada, dan we need to check the pulse. Kita nak tengok nadi dia ada lagi nadi ke tidak. Kalau you did all this, then you able to move to the next stage ataupun next step. Tapi kalau you kejut dia kan, hello tak bangun ke, tiba-tiba dia bangun, then tak perlu respon ataupun tak perlu continue the first stage lah, the next stage or the next step, tak perlu continue because dia dah sedarkan diri dah. Sama juga kalau macam contoh orang tu lemas ke, orang tu jatuh and suddenly collapse like me, tiba-tiba you try to get response, dia sedar, then okay lah. So you don't have to continue the step until the circulation, you just stop at that step. Tapi kalau tak ada respon, memang dia ada satu term we call as apa dia panggil I forgot the term, look, check and feel. Look, check and feel. Apa yang kita buat, kita akan letakkan kita punya telinga dekat hidung mangsa. We need to put your ears to victim nose. Okay, apa yang kita akan buat? Look, kita akan tengok chest dia, either the chest still move or not, itu yang pertama. Lepas tu kita kena rasa, look, listen and feel. Dengar, ada tak nafas? Sebab kalau kita bernafas sebenarnya ada bunyi tau. Ataupun kalau kita tak bernafas guna hidung, mungkin ada bunyi daripada mulut kita keluar, keluar angin tu. So we need to look the chest, listen to the breathe, kalau dia masih breathing, and feel. Because apa yang kita nak rasa? Kita nak rasa kalau dia bernafas ada haba, heat. Because kalau kita perasan, nafas kita ni ada haba. So when you put your ears betul-betul dekat telinga, looking to the chest, listen to the breathing punya bunyi, and feel the heat. Kalau ada haba, dia akan pergi ke kita punya pipi. Ataupun kalau semua ni dah buat, memang confirm dia punya dada, chest tak ada movement, tak dengar langsung dia punya nafas, tak ada rasa apa-apa, then check the pulse. Again, you boleh check dekat tangan nadi ataupun dekat near to your, kalau lelaki ada halcum at the menopause ni, tolak sikit, then you feel heart punya beat ataupun pulse, kita punya nadi. Kalau normal sepatutnya you rasa, kalau tak normal kena check lah, tak ada jantung ke apa kan. Tapi kalau memang okay, nafas dah tak ada, nadi pun dah tak ada, then we go to the next step, which is the A is airway. So what is airway? When at this step or this stage, kita kena bukakan dia punya mulut. Sebab kita takut ada obstruction pada dia punya airway. Sebab the only salur pernafasan kita daripada mulut, even though from nose pun dia akan pergi same punya flow sampai ke kita punya chest. So by checking the airway, kalau ada contoh lah tiba-tiba rupanya ada dia tercekik jagung, keluarkan jagung tu, then fine, kita clear the airway first. And even sometimes kena tengok betul-betul kan, dia ni tercekik ke sebenarnya, because ada obstruction ataupun ada benda yang menghalang salur pernafasan dia sampai ke paru-paru. So if let's say you ask for respon, tak ada respon, you check everything semua tak ada, dan nadi tak ada, nafas tak ada, then when you check the airway tak ada blockage, semua okay, then baru kita akan pergi ke following step, which is breathing. Dulu kita akan terus bagi 2 rescue blow. Dulu dia panggil 2 rescue blow. Apa yang dia kata 2 rescue blow? Kita akan tutup hidung mangsa, kita akan apa? Kita akan tolakkan dia punya dahi ke bawah, dan kita akan tarik dia punya mulut, macam dalam gambar saya tu. So apa yang kita akan buat? Kita akan bagi 2 kali rescue blow. Kita akan tiup 2 kali, dan kemudian we need to check back dia punya nadi, dia punya respon, dia punya jantung, dia punya dada. The victim give a response on the 2 rescue blow or not. If not, kalau tidak, masa itulah kita akan pergi kepada compression. Apa yang kita akan buat? Kita akan bagi 30 compression dekat dia punya chest. Okay. Since this is a theoretical class, saya pun tak ada mannequin with me, tak ada patung. So I just can sit, kan boleh bercakap je lah, boleh bercerita sajalah. Kalau ada depan, maybe I can put some action or demonstrate you what is the meaning of compress, ataupun buat kita buat tekan pada kita punya dada. The location at the middle of the chest, third quarter from the sternum. So this is sternum bone, and this is sternum bone, third quarter. So dekat sini lah, this area, dekat chest area, dan kemudian tengah-tengah, slightly left, ke kiri sikit, sebab jantung kita dekat sini. Kalau nak tahu jantung kita besar mana, you genggam your own hand, then put at the left. So this is your heart size, your own size. Setiap orang ada size yang berbeza. Tengok your palm, tengok tangan you. Kalau you genggam macam ni, you letak, tangan you kecil, actually that is size of your heart, same size. Tuhan jadikan macam tu. So kalau macam saya tangan besar kan, I put here, besar ni lah my heart actually. So that's why dia kata at the middle of the chest, third quarter from the sternum bone, bagi 3, this is sternum bone, slightly left, dekat saya punya jantung lah, and my heart. So when we push and put pressure on the chest, is very difficult actually. Dalam buku, dalam kalau you attend a proper training, dia cakap apa? You must compress or push at least like if I'm not mistaken, it's 1 inch, only 1 inch maximum. 1 inci tu dalam tau, tolak. Tapi kalau kita buat dengan cepat, nak dapat ke 1 inch tu? Tak dapat. So sometimes kita akan tend to push more sebab kita nak cepat. Uh, 30 kali. You just imagine after 2 rescue blow, we push 30 times. And the time, ini yang every year bertukar-tukar. When I start learn the CPR, the first start, they are counting like this. N1, N2, N3, N4 until 15. The counting until 15. Tapi with N word. N1, N2, N3, N4. But now, dia punya kiraan dah berbeza. Now they are counting like this. 30 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sampai 30. So, sometimes even the doktor pun kadang-kadang when give some when perform the CPR, kadang-kadang dia terlebih untuk compress ataupun to push more than 1 inch. Dan apa kesannya? Your ribs kadang-kadang boleh patah. That's why kadang-kadang kalau salah buat, yang menyebabkan dia mati sebenarnya bukan the accident. Sometimes because you perform the CPR, ribs patah, tercucuk jantung, tercucuk paru-paru, and you die. And the victim die. So, that's why kadang-kadang orang takut sangat nak bagi CPR. For me, memang kemungkinan untuk patah tu ada, but at least you do something. It's better than just look and see. Wait and see. And last is circulation. Where the circulation, the continuing of doing the 2 rescue blow followed by 30 pumps is the circulation of CPR. So the circulation of CPR, they said the cycle is 2 blow, 30 pump within 5 minutes. 5 times within 2 minutes. So nak kena cepat betul lah. Lepas blow, itu yang ada satu apa nama tu, it happened in Malaysia. Dia selamatkan the rescuer, rescue 4 kids, and finally the rescuer yang mati because dia terlalu penat pula. Dia share all the breathing, all respiration very fast. 4 kanak-kanak yang lemas tadi, yang nearly drowning tadi tu, dia berjaya selamatkan, dia mati. It happened, I think 10 years back kot. It happened dekat pantai Port Dickson. Dan even the medical punya team, kadang-kadang one fellow will do the breathing and another one guy yang akan buat pump. So 2% is better than 1%. Tapi at that situation, if you are the only person who understand and know what to do, memang seorang lah kena buat. Memang seorang kena buat. So this CPR for me is another important thing in for me in my life lah. By doing, by understanding, by having a skill and knowledge about CPR, at least you know how to do and how to react when this happen in front of you. So, like I did mention at the first place, first aid memang is not apa orang kata, bukan topik yang menarik, bukan tajuk yang menarik, tapi for to maintain, survive, untuk teruskan hidup, you need to understand and have at least some knowledge about first aid. And because of the knowledge, you may react accordingly. That's why it's very important. Tak adalah kelang kabut, tak tahu apa nak buat, sudahnya menjerit. Ada yang paling teruk, dia lah tak tahu nak buat apa-apa, tak ada knowledge langsung, tolong pun tak boleh. Dia just record the video and viral the situation. Itu paling teruk. So, itu saja. That's it for my session. Kalau ada apa-apa pertanyaan, maybe I can answer your question, ataupun maybe some of you need more clarify, then you may ask me anything related to first aid. Jangan tanya pasal benda lain. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Saifful, for your webinar talk. Now we are open to our Q&A session. Does anybody have a question regarding the talk today?
Me.
Yes, you can go ahead and ask your question to Mr. Saifful.
Hi, Mr. Saifful. I'm Muhammad Shanizwan. I'm currently doing my diplomas. As a tour guide, it's compulsory for us to know at least the basic of first aid. Would you mind sharing with us some of the common injuries that you have dealt with in the past or during recreational activities, and how do you react to it?
Okay, thank you for the question. As I mentioned, as in my slide, the common injury is ankle sprain, head injury, near drowning, and so on. So that is considered the common injury in outdoors. How I'm react, because I have some knowledge of doing first aid, especially wilderness first aid, where with limited resources, with limited medical assistance and medicine, I able to perform the first aid. If you ask how important, sama juga macam I did mention at the first place, to become a competent person is very important, especially in Malaysia. But at least to understand is a good for your living, untuk kehidupan, because when you understand about the first aid, you know how to react with the situation. That was the answer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Saifful, for answering his question. Is there any more? We are open to more questions. Is there anyone else who would like to ask Mr. Saifful anything for the YouTube live? Please put in your questions in the comment section.
I have a question. Hi, my name is Natasha Naira. So my question is, what kind of items that we need to bring for the first aid when we go for hiking or extreme sport?
Okay, good. As I mentioned, the common injury have related to the tools or things that you need to have inside your first aid. Macam kita kata ankle sprain, you need to have the cooler compression. Itu bagus untuk ada dalam your first aid. Because when you do hiking or you traveling or anything, itu sangat bagus. Takut kalau kaki sakit. You just bear in your mind, macam saya beritahu, it's not only limited to outdoor activity tau. Sakit kaki ni dia boleh jadi pakai heels hari ni nak bergaya sikit kan, nak cantik-cantik sikit kan, pakai heels, lepas tu jalan dekat depan tu MSU punya tangga banyak-banyak tu, terjatuh, then you also will harm your boleh jadi ankle sprain. So by understanding what need to do and the treatment, macam Rice tadi, ataupun you have your compression punya cooling bag tadi tu, it will help you immediately. Satu. Bandage, untuk you bandage, they have a form of bandage. Ada roller bandage, ada triangular bandage untuk your arm sling and so on. So bandage also considered as important things inside your first aid. Another important thing inside your first aid, kalau ada is muscular pain relief. Muscular pain relief ni bagus untuk kalau you get hamstring kan, you boleh sapu dia sejuk, ambil yang cooling punya. Sebab kadang-kadang kita biasa pakai apa tau, kita pakai minyak angin, minyak kapak lah, minyak apalah, macam-macam minyak lah, and even sometimes the yang oil yang kita guna tu, dia sebenarnya bukan merawat, dia just tipu kita punya nerve. just to share with you ni tak ada kata saya kata ni minyak-minyak angin atau minyak-minyak urut biasanya actually dia hanya dekat kita yang surface saja, kat kulit saja. And sometimes yang kita rasa macam macam dah okey lah, sapu minyak sikit macam dah okey lah, sebenarnya dia tipu nerve kita. It totally different with muscular pain relief. Muscular pain relief ada macam-macam brand lah, I forgot the brand, tapi muscular pain relief ni dia boleh datang dalam spray ataupun dalam form cream. So bila you sapu pada you punya kulit ataupun dekat injured area, actually dia bukan pergi pada bahagian kulit saja, dia akan meresap sampai dekat you punya muscle. So this will help better untuk recovery the injury compare dengan minyak-minyak. So macam saya beritahu tadi, ada compress cooling do satu, bandage, any form of bandage dengan muscular pain relief. Other than that, like small tool macam gunting apa semua, paling cepat kalau cuts kita kena, macam saya memang ada kat mana-mana apa kita panggil, apa tu yang tambal tu kita panggil apa? Allahu Akbar. Aniplas, sorry, Aniplas. Yang tu kalau boleh bukan ada dalam first aid je. Kalau boleh ada kat mana-mana, dalam wallet ada, dekat dalam poket ada, because itu antara yang paling cepat untuk guna, especially kalau cuts. So for me, that 4 item lah yang wajib ada lah, Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Saifful. In one of the chat says by Sawarna, her question is, how do we survive if we get lost in the forest?
Ini dah tajuk lain tau. But it's okay. It's okay. Just share with you, when you get lost in jungle, there are a strategies to react with this situation. We call as stop, S-T-O-P. Actually, this is under survival subject, not first aid, but I share with you. So when you understand with stop, stop is you stop, S is stop, betul-betul berhenti. Next you go to T is think, you think what resources you have, you observe, O is observe, you observe what the situation, do you have a plan untuk keluar, jalan keluar, and last STOP, and plan, either you want to keluar, cek jalan sendiri atau you nak berhenti untuk stay, tunggu sehingga penyelamat mencari kita. So STOP dalam planning tu, ini antara benda yang you kena plan betul-betul to survive in the forest. Sebab untuk manusia biasa, you can survive in the forest. Ada pengalaman one girl sesat dekat Gunung Tahan, it's about 2 weeks if I'm not mistaken. Siapa nama dia? I forget the girl names. I forget the girl's names. Dia sesat dan bila dia share, dia cakap dia tak ada makanan tapi dia survive dengan minum air sahaja. So it shows that a normal human body can survive and live longer by only drink water. Sebab dah ada result kan. So kalau tanya how you survive, itulah salah satu jawapannya. As long as you have a water to drink, maybe you can survive. But in stop process, STOP tadi, when you plan, either you want to stay waiting for the rescuer to help you, or you plan to get your own way to rescue yourself. So kalau macam saya kan, saya selalu bila STOP tu, sampai je saya think back, oh memang aku tak ingat jalan balik. Then I observe the situation, it's better for me sebelum gelap, I plan to bermalam dekat sini, and plan to, bila dah plan bermalam, then I stay dekat dalam hutan lah. It better to tunggu penyelamat datang menyelamatkan kita daripada kita cuba selamatkan diri. Sebab bila you try to rescue yourself by jalan ni kot, oh sebenarnya you akan sesat lebih teruk. Itu just my experience lah.
Sir, I have a question. Hello.
Yeah, carry on.
So my question is, do we need certification or license to do CPR?
Okay, macam yang I beritahu, mungkin tadi slide tadi tak berjalan. No worries, I will share my slide with Miss Farah. Nanti Miss Farah, maybe you can get the slide from Miss Farah. Yes, we have some organization in Malaysia, especially the NGOs. We have the Red Crescent, kita ada St. John Ambulance, we have Life Saving Society, we have Makra, Malaysia Aquatic Rescue Association. So this kind of association where memang offer CPR or first aid training. You may search in website dalam internet, diorang memang offer. Tapi sekarang ni rasanya because of we cannot do any training for now as per instruction by MKN. So ada juga yang conduct online. I don't know how they conduct the online training CPR because last time when I attend the training, you must able to perform the CPR. So kalau online I tak tahulah macam mana dia assess you. Tapi maybe you can search and Google after this. Memang bagus kalau you attend a course, is better to understand in details. Kalau macam hari ni, I give you just a general knowledge and how to perform the CPR.
Hello. I have a question. Hello.
Can I go first?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So hello, sir. So my question is, have you faced any medical emergency situations in the public? And if got, how you handle the medical emergency?
What do you mean?
Maybe an accident or elderly people suffering from breathing or anything.
Okay, for me, if you have a knowledge, if you have a skill on first aid, and the best part, kalau you certified and competent person, it's good for you to give a help lah. Tapi kalau you 50-50, you pun tak tahu apa yang you buat, you also don't know how to cope with yourself. Orang so keep calm, you yang paling bising, orang lain yang injured, you yang jerit-jerit lebih kan. Tolong kan. So means that you don't know how to react with the situation. It's better not to perform the CPR or first aid. It's better to just wait and call for help. That is the orang kata layman lah, orang yang tak tahu apa-apa. It's better to call for help. Jangan pandai-pandai lah, especially in public. Tapi jangan jadi orang yang macam saya cakap tadi tu. My last slide tadi, I did mention bagus untuk tolong kalau you have a gut ataupun you ada keberanian. Tapi yang paling worst tadi apa? Dah lah tak tahu, tak minta tolong, yang rakam video kan, yang nak jadi viral tu kan. So for me, kalau you have the knowledge and skill, it's good for you to help. Tapi kalau tak, it's better to ask for help from others lah.
Hello, sir. My name is Faiz Nabil. So my question for you is, in terms of giving CPR, is there a significant difference between giving it to adults, children, and even infants?
Definitely, they have a difference between giving a CPR to adult and kids and infant as well. So kalau you attend a proper training normally they have like adolescent CPR technique, and they have like a kids and infant punya technique. So a main difference is how you blow and how you put compression and push the chest. So kalau I just share, kalau adult you can just push using your palm and 30 counting yang macam saya share tadi. Tapi for infant or kids, kalau kids bawah umur berapa or infant, I share infant lah. Kalau baby kan, maybe you just use your finger to pump the chest. So mainly depend on the size of the body. Sama juga dengan give to rescue blow. If let's say for adult, you give just apa, tolakkan dahi dia, tekan hidung, keluarkan mulut dan kita blow dekat dia punya mouth saja. Tapi kalau infant, we need to cover the nose as well. So you just imagine that the baby in front of you, nose and mouth kita akan blow together. So maksudnya hidung dan dia punya mulut tu akan masuk dalam mulut kita. So that is kind of like major difference lah. Tapi in details, if you able to attend after this kan, or in future you able to attend the CPR punya training, it's better to you to understand in details.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Saifful, for answering all the questions from the students. Unfortunately, we have to end the session. So I would like to thank and express our sincere gratitude to our panel, Mr. Saifful Pathil, for sharing us with his knowledge and experience today. It was definitely a very interesting and beneficial sharing session with us, with the students. So lastly, before we go, I would like to request the audience in Google Meet to get ready for a group photo session with Mr. Saifful. Once again, all the participants in Google Meet are required to switch on your camera for the photo snap session. All right, everyone ready? Formal picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's now freestyle picture. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you again, Mrs. Saifful, lecturers, and fellow participants. Finally, we have come to the end of our Adjunct Lecture Series. It has been a really great day and a wonderful time with all of you. Thank you for your support and participation. Till we meet again in our next event. My name is Nasha Aziz, signing off. Thank you.
Okay, bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
For
Bye. Thank you.
sir. For MSU students, please stay for your GEMS QR code that will be shared shortly. Thank you. Now MSU students, you may scan the external linkage GEMS that is currently on the screen. For for the students who have scanned the QR code for the GEMS, you can leave the Google Meet now. If there is any problems of scanning the QR code, please inform in the Google chat.